Does God want us to know Him? I recently heard an atheist make a point that if God exists, He certainly does not make it clear to us. Here's how I'll know God exists. I'm paraphrasing what he said. If tomorrow God takes the Eiffel Tower and stands it upside down, and then the next day turns it right side up again, then I will believe in God. Why doesn't God make Himself known in fantastic, undeniable ways such as this? To my mind, undeniable proof for the existence of God is all around us. I see it in the order of the universe that is finely tuned for the existence of complex life forms. I see it in the non-reducible complexity of the human body and each living cell. I see it in the fact that I have awareness as a living being, that I can think, feel, love, and appreciate beauty. To my mind, denying the existence of God is as if someone stood in a field on a sunny day, closed their eyes, and then tried to convince everyone else that there is no sun. I don't mean to casually dismiss the thoughts and arguments of the thinking atheist, but I have so undeniably experienced the grandeur of existence, nature, and the spiritual presence of God that I can no more deny that God exists than I can deny my own existence. However, there are many highly intelligent people that do not believe in God, and God could convince them by arranging the stars in the night sky to spell out a message, "I am here, believe in me." But God doesn't do that, nor has He turned the Eiffel Tower upside down. Why doesn't God send some undeniable message that scientists and atheists couldn't even hope to explain away? I think there are two answers for this. The first is that God is not an omnipotent magician. That is not His character. Sure, He could arrange the stars at a whim and do whatever He wants with the Eiffel Tower, and sure, that would force many people to suddenly confess that there is a God. But what kind of God would they then believe in? Would this be a God of love, or a God seeking self-serving attention? Would this be a God of order and glory, or a God that bows to the flimsy challenges of people by doing magic tricks? God makes Himself known in a way that reveals His holiness, righteousness, and love, while still remaining wrapped in clouds of unpierceable mystery. If we are going to ask for evidence of God, we must look for it in ways that correspond with His character. I am convinced that this type of evidence is found in the very nature of human experience. We think because our Creator thinks. We have free will because He has free will. We love because He loves. We often have an innate sense of justice because He is a God of justice. In short, we live because He lives. When our lives don't reflect His character, our conscience, at least for most of us, lets us know it. This is the type of evidence that is not only abundant, but reveals God as He truly is. It may not convince the scientific mind, but science cannot grasp the nature of God as much as the open, loving heart. The second problem with the challenge of this particular atheist is that the result of belief in God through his manipulation of the Eiffel Tower or some such event does not produce the type of belief that God is looking for. If He is a God of love, then He is looking for human hearts that will appreciate that love. If He is a God of justice, He is looking for human hearts that cry out for justice to be done. God's performance of undeniably miraculous and random events would not produce the heart response that He takes pleasure in. He is not seeking forced belief by those wowed by the undeniably miraculous, but for the loving heart that is ready to find those aspects of His nature revealed in our human experiences. I saw a video recently of a former atheist. She is now a believer in God not because of some inexplicable random event, but because she became a mother. As an atheist, she believed that love was no more than a chemical response within the human brain that existed as the result of the evolutionary process. But as she held her baby in her arms, she knew that love was real. And if love is real, it cannot be explained by evolution. It must be the result of a God who also loves. This is the type of heart response that pleases God because it reflects His heart. A few honest souls are swayed by a rational look at the scientific evidence of the need for a creator. A few honest souls are swayed by the historical evidence for things such as the resurrection of Jesus. I believe that far more are swayed when confronted by genuine, undeniable love, either directly from God or through a human that exemplifies God's love. This kind of evidence is all around us. I'll admit that the evil and chaos around us is often daunting. But even in the midst of a broken world, if true love really exists, it must be explained by something other than survival of the fittest. Those open to a revelation of love please God and are able to see the evidence that reflects His true nature. At this point, someone may ask about the words of Jesus who challenged those who doubted Him to at least believe because of His miraculous works. We see that in John chapter 10, verse 38. If Jesus asked for faith because of the miracles He did, why can't someone demand that God invert the Eiffel Tower? This kind of question misses the point of the passage. Jesus also warned of false prophets that would come and work wonders, Matthew 24:24. Why should they have put their trust in the miracles of Jesus and not those of the false prophets? Jesus was not only highlighting His ability to do miracles, but the type of miracle He was working. He avoided using His power for selfish gain and for the sake of showing off. We see that in Matthew 4. He did not stand the Eiffel Tower on end, so to speak, but He did heal the sick, free people from demons, and even raise the dead back to life. His works revealed the love of God, and to put one's trust in God because of demonstrations of love is to put one's trust in God as He truly is. Does God want to be known? Absolutely. But He wants to reveal who He truly is and have our hearts respond in a way that receives and reflects that reality. He can't do that by answering absurd human challenges. Some will have the heart to accept the evidence that reveals His nature. Others will go to great lengths to deny the evidence. I pray that one day they will have the ability to stand in that sunny field with eyes wide open to the truth of God and all of His glory and love. We can argue about scientific, historical, and philosophical evidence for hours, and sometimes those discussions are important and useful. But in the end, if someone is not open to the love of God, even a forced belief from scholarly arguments or random miracles won't produce a heart that is ready for the life of sacrificial love that belief in the God of love requires.